The row over Damian Green's sacking erupted again last night after leaked messages sent by the woman who accused him of misconduct showed that she was sending him friendly texts just weeks before pulling the trigger on his career. Maltby's claim that she had felt angry and professionally compromised after Mr. Green touched her knee in a bar led to a Cabinet Office inquiry into the minister, which widened into claims that he had downloaded pornography on his Commons computer. He was fired by Mrs. May last week after the inquiry concluded that he had made misleading remarks about whether he knew about the pornography allegations. He blames Tory Chief Whip Julian Smith, who referred the claims to the police, for the torrent of abuse he has received on social media, which has taken a heavy toll on him. The Green saga started 2 months ago, when Ms. Maltby claimed in a newspaper article that, when she met Mr. Green for a drink in a bar in Waterloo in early 2015, she had felt a fleeting hand against my knee. Her embarrassment was compounded a year later, when he sent her a message inviting her for a drink, after seeing a picture of her wearing a corset in a newspaper article. According to messages studied by the Cabinet Office inquiry, in February this year Ms. Maltby emailed Mr. Green to say she would wager a good few bottles that he was an unnamed minister who had been the source of the political story. After Mr. Green responds to say that he never reveals sources, Ms. Maltby wrote, "Hope to catch up when things calm down." Mr. Green says they never do, so let's fix a date soon. Ms. Maltby replies, "You're the one with the ministerial schedule." Send me an email, or get a minion to do it. When Mr. Green says, "Will do," myself or be a minion, she concludes, "Great." Night. The exchange came 5 months after Ms. Maltby says she warned one of Mrs. May's number 10 aides about Mr. Green's behavior. Names a Green official was smooching the room on your behalf. Mr. Green replies, "That's what he's paid for." A week later, Ms. Maltby responds to the news that Mr. Green had been appointed to sit on 19 different cabinet committees by writing, "Deeply disappointed to see there are 2 cabinet committees you don't have a seat on." Lax, Mr. Green. On Wednesday, October 4th, just 3 weeks before making her devastating claims, she sent a message to Mr. Green to wish him luck on the BBC's Question Time tonight. When Mr. Green corrects her to say it is being filmed on a Thursday, she writes, "Speaking of time travel, I recently found the old school magazines. Hope this cheers you up." Ms. Maltby is referring to the fact that when she was 16, she interviewed Mr. Green for her school magazine. In his resignation statement, Mr. Green said that, while he deeply regretted the distress caused to Kate Maltby following her article about me, he did not recognize the events she described in her article. He added, "I clearly made her feel uncomfortable, and for this I apologize." Government insiders say Mr. Green would not have lost his job if he hadn't breached the ministerial code by making misleading statements about what he knew about police claims that pornography had been found on his office computer. On Friday, Mrs. May denied she had been alerted to any claims about Mr. Green's behavior before Ms. Maltby wrote her article in October. It comes as friends of Brexit Secretary David Davis say he did everything he could to save Mr. Green, including setting up a war room in his office to rebut claims made by former Scotland Yard officers about pornography being found on his computer. Mr. Davis also lobbied the Prime Minister personally to not give his head to the police on a plate, but had to admit defeat when it emerged that Mr. Green had made misleading statements about his knowledge of the police claims. In his powerful article, Mr. Maltby says that, unlike Mr. Green, his fate is being left in limbo. Damian Green was informed of the allegations against him and afforded the courtesy of a full inquiry by the Cabinet Office, he writes. To this day I have not been interviewed by the police and they have not told me what I'm accused of or who my accuser is. Just after 9 p.m. at night on Friday, November 3rd, I was relaxing at home with my family. The phone rang, and it was a journalist saying he'd heard I was having the party whip removed. Did I want to make a comment? My wife and I spent that weekend wondering whether I would be arrested at any moment. The knock never came back. AND has not to this day. 7 weeks on. Throwing a public figure out to the wolves has grave consequences. Meanwhile, on social media, anonymous accounts spew vitriol that Twitter refuses to take down. After all, why not when the chief whip, who has never been my biggest fan, has declared open season? Mr. Green follows Sir Michael Fallon and Priti Patel in being bundled out of the cabinet in the past 2 months. While Mr. Green has been close to Mrs. May since university, both Sir Michael and Ms. Patel have the potential to cause trouble for the Prime Minister. Sir Michael was forced out over claims of inappropriate behavior towards women, including a lunge at a journalist, and lewd remarks towards fellow Conservative MP Andrea Leadsom. One friend said, he has been cast into darkness by Mrs. May's Downing Street, after complaining that he would get up at the crack of dawn to do the media rounds whenever there was a crisis. Last night, Sir Michael said, I wish Gavin well. Ms. Patel, who lost her job as International Development Secretary 7 days later after it was revealed that she had held meetings in Israel without telling the government, is also regarded as being on leadership maneuvers by Number 10, who fear that she could team up with Environment Secretary Michael Gove to form a dream ticket leadership partnership if the May premiership falters. Since leaving her job, Ms. Patel has taken aim at Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, another leadership contender, over the turf war between the Foreign Office and her old department, complaining to friends that she no longer thinks her and Mr. Johnson are on the same side. Last night, Ms. Maltby said, "It has never been a secret that I had a friendly relationship with Damian Green for some time before I cut off contact, and that I resumed contact with him by text after he joined the cabinet." "I felt it was professionally necessary, and I gave the cabinet inquiry multiple safe communications proving that I had asked the advice of several more experienced female journalists before doing so." It is my clear understanding from the Cabinet Office that direct evidence as to his behavior in this regard has already formed the background to the Prime Minister's decision to sack him. Your story reflects much more on him than it does on me. Christmas should be a time of celebration, yet this year, for me and my family, it will be a more somber occasion. Damian Green was informed of the allegations against him and afforded the courtesy of a full inquiry by the Cabinet Office. In my case, it's now more than 7 weeks since I was accused of unspecified allegations. To this day, I have not been interviewed by the police, nor have they told me what I'm accused of or who my accuser is. Just after 9 p.m. on Friday, November 3rd, I was relaxing at home with my family. The phone rang. It was a journalist saying he had heard I was having the party with removed. Did I want to make a comment? Many minutes later, I spoke to the new Conservative Chief Whip Julian Smith, who told me of serious allegations that had been referred to the police. I asked what they were, and he would not tell me. He would only say that I was having the Conservative whip suspended. My wife and I spent that weekend wondering whether I would be arrested at any moment. The knock never came. And has not to this date. 7 weeks on. In the meantime, the press pack descended on our home. Neighbors watched horrified as our bins were checked out. The local pubs were full of press asking for the inside track on their MP for the price of a drink. Work colleagues and friends of the family have been subject to unwanted intrusion. Throwing a public figure out to the wolves has grave consequences. Yet the support of friends, my community in Dover and Deal and parliamentary colleagues has been incredible. Meanwhile, on social media, anonymous accounts spew vitriol that Twitter refuses to take down. After all, why not when the Chief Whip, who has never been my biggest fan, has declared open season? In the federal atmosphere that grips our country from time to time, we must never rush to judgment. We must always remember it is a cornerstone of our Constitution that a person is innocent until proven guilty. Proper procedures should always be followed. Whatever allegations may be put to me, I deny any criminal wrongdoing. However, I cannot deny that the pressure of these events has taken a heavy toll on me and my family and cast a long shadow this Christmas.